Hello, and thank you for being with me on this tour of a 1967 911S, which was basically a bolt-up restoration. The car was purchased in Madrid by the original owner, Captain Washburn. The information is on the website in the description of the car. I'm the second owner. I've had it 45 years. It's recently undergone a restoration. I'll kind of start with the inside. As you can tell, this is Porsche 1 vinyl leatherette, which is specified in the COA. So we, as much as possible, we tried to keep everything original. Correct carpet, correct rear plates, correct seats. These seat belts were with the car when I purchased it. I cannot substantiate they are original. However, this is what was in the car 45 years ago and was used by the original owner. As you can see, the small details of the car, the interior and the exterior, have been attended to. This was a very fun project for me after owning the car for all these years and finally being able to do something with it. The rear vent windows are operable in this particular year. Other years are not, but there you have a nice operable window with a latch. One of the options that particular year was a rear windshield wiper, and there you have a rear window wiper in place with a motor. It's an SWC and Bosch both made those motors. Inside you'll see that there's a nice refurbishment that's been done, and you'll notice something rather unusual. This is specified in the COA. This is an option for external temperature. And then of course all the gauges have been recalibrated and redone, cleaned up, but left enough patina so you could tell that they had age. This is the radio from Con Radio. It's the original that came with the car. The material on the front, the basket weave, is original fabric, which was amazing to us. So on the side you have a Recaro seat. Again, specified in the COA. Recaro made these for 2 years, so it was interesting finding parts and descriptions. If you look at the passenger side, you'll notice the passenger side is a typical club type seat with a seat rest, with the headrest, and the headrest is specified in the COA. It basically says 2, but in Germany they only put 1 headrest on the seat for the passenger. They were afraid that a headrest on the driver's side would make the driver too relaxed and bad things could happen. One of the other aspects of this particular year is that the sunscreen, the sun lids do not pivot. They basically only move up and down, and they're different colors on each side. And this was a rather difficult item to track down. Those are original. This on the outside, this is a Talbot mirror, which was found on the European models. The American models used Durant, the Hirsch antenna, of course regular vent windows. If we look at the outside, you'll also see the Fuchs wheels. This was the first year in '67 that Fuchs actually made these wheels. These are 4.5 15s. Very unusual and only for this particular year. There were 523 of these 911s built. This was one of the early ones. So you find interesting trim, which the S's had. These are the original letters, which had to be replated. There was a lot of replating on the car. This is not the original engine. This is a 1969 engine that has been refitted, retrofitted with Webers to try to make it as period correct as possible. The original owner had an engine failure on his way from Florida to Ohio, and someplace in the middle of all that, he was on a business trip. He found this engine and they installed it, and he went on his way. So I don't know anything about the original engine. I was told the case was bad, but I don't know. So that's the engine. The muffler is also original. This was a bolt-up restoration, so the entire car was taken down to the metal, pieces replaced, cut out, welded, and this is the correct metal that goes with the car. You can see the seams are nice and straight. Windshield, everything is in place. This is, again, not the nice chrome stripping. Now, in Europe, they were not required to have the bumper guards in the front that you see in the States on many of these models. So there are no bumper guards on this because, again, we're trying to emulate the European model. You'll also notice the fog lamps, which are Hella 128s, and the reflectors, interestingly enough, are yellow, not the bulb, the reflector, which also is interesting. Above that are driving lights, which the original owner found necessary because driving through Europe, they'd just been through the Second World War. Lights were at a premium. Street lights basically hit everything else had been bombed. So you basically have some funky things about it. One of them is the driving lights, of course, which were very essential, halogen bulbs, and also the turn signals could be left in the on position. They didn't blink, they just stayed on. So that if you were parked on a dark street, someone coming from either direction could see that there was a car parked there. That drove my mechanic crazy trying to figure out exactly what was going on. But that was the way the European cars were done versus their American cousins. The other thing about this vehicle that's interesting, of course, is the wiring was in such good shape that we were able to really reuse the vast majority of the wiring, harnesses, everything else. So if we look at the front of the vehicle and raise the front lid, you'll see that in the wiring, if you look at the wiring, you'll see it looks nice and clean and it lays out very well. The original fuse box is there. We did change some of the signal modules that need to be replaced. Then the other thing, obviously this is correct crinkle on the top and the bottom of the car paint. This is the spare, which is a full-size spare, and it's good. Now, it has been supplemented with a piece of rubber just laid in there so that the paint on the gas tank is not damaged. Again, the battery box, and of course the washer reservoir. You'll notice the numbering is correct, and of course the latch and so forth. This car also had lighting in the luggage area, and you can see the light on either side. So this is a very nice example of a 1967 European S. It drives well. It is correct. The wheels are the correct size. The tires are the correct size. They are radials, which for safety purposes basically makes sense. It is a period type tire, though. It's a Michelin XZX. So very nice example, very clean example. The one thing that I have not shown you is the heater for the car. The heater, this has, of course, a regular heater box with the vents on the side, but it also has an auxiliary heater, which is activated by the far right knob, which was powered by gasoline. Now, I live in Florida, and the heater box is placed only 6 or 8 inches away from the gas tank. So for obvious reasons, I've not reinstalled it. I have the original heater, it's in good shape. I have all the installation parts, which are brand new. So if someone chooses to do that, that would be a nice thing to do. The Budapunk Con radio is the original. The serial numbers match up. So anything that could be done to retain the originality of the car that was practical, we've certainly done. Thank you very much for taking this tour with me, and I hope you have a wonderful day today.